One thing I learned through all this, God can bring people in your life for a season, or it can be for a lifetime. I remember everything like it just happened. 2008, I was working for my dog, Chief.
Yeah. Chief Entertainment, Young Rider Good Man. We're gonna spend a lot of green. You see this?
Okay then.
You know what I'm saying? Okay then. It's going down. Spider, what it do, man? 9 Alabama time, 10 is Atlanta time. All the time. All the time. We be putting on big shit.
Chief, he was the CEO of the label I was working for. I was shooting videos and shit like that. The only problem was, I ain't have a camera. I was using a laptop. You can laugh all you want. It worked.
In the motherfucking Hawaii, nigga, straight from Alabama, nigga. PC.
Niggas, bunch of country ass niggas down here making money, smoking
You know what I'm
good.
saying?
Nigga, we got Polynesian bitches, everything, bro. You need to get over with it, boy. You need to get over with it.
Now catch up quick, hating on you, boy, cause shit, I'm doing this shit, boy. You nigga, man.
That nigga doing it for real, nigga. Niggas got niggas flying him out here, nigga.
Truthfully, I paid the motherfucker food stamp and had to audition for 6 months to get Villa Man out here.
He doing his thing for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? The man that's recording y'all right here, official to the death, and pay this motherfucker because he's doing this shit correct.
Look here, in 2008, I was fresh out of school. I was broke. I was in the hood. I just had to do what I had to do.
You got you a bitch and you ready to settle out this one, all the together and we break that in.
It was around the time when World Star and YouTube, you know, they was getting off the ground. It was the DVD era. I was just trying to get my foot in the door. Had to get in where I fit in.
Villa Man Films is in this. Villa Man Films is in this.
November 16, 2008, I'll never forget it. Chief had called me, and he was like, look, I need you to do something for me. We got to ride to Atlanta. I was like, cool. He was like, I need to go holler at my partner Zay to get some beats.
Chief Entertainment, Villa Man Films, we get money.
Before I started working with Chief, I never heard of Zay. He put me on game, let me know everything he produced and everything. You know, like Gucci, Ralph, OJ, the people that was hot at the time. When we got there, I thought we was about to pull up to some, you know, big glamorous studio, you know, about to go hard. When we got there, it was his mama's house. I was thinking to myself, this brought me up here to record in a bedroom. But it wasn't no bedroom. It was a basement. And that basement was decked out.
First time I seen him go out on them motherfuckers for real. I just felt like I was too old to be in the club, man.
I ain't gonna lie, I was amazed. This had a C24 in his basement at his mama's house. All this stuff he had in there is all the stuff I grew up idolizing. All the stuff I wish I could afford to buy and put in my own studio. When we first walked in, Gucci Mane was there. Young Ralph was there. Waka Flocka was there. Straight Dropp was there. Homo G was there. And Bankroll was there. This before everybody was really popping. Man, in the midst of all that, I was inspired. That's when I knew. That's what I wanted to do. This the environment I want to be around.
Yeah, we shooting the movie right now, man. A documentary. We ain't gonna start with part 1. We coming out with part 2 first. Leave them guessing, man. So you know we gonna go back. Get them with this number 1. Slap Grease star, your boy Zaytoven, man. Okay. Let's do it. She got a name of Slap Grease.
What that's Slap Grease?
Fine girl on the front, bend over. They gonna go pick it up.
Marketing, man. You know
For real, that's how you do it.
Slap Grease part 2.
You gonna get the movie, ain't nothing but a bunch of in the basement on there rapping and everything.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo, let's start the movie. Chief, what's up, bro? Let's do the first thing, man.
Let's run it, man. Shit, come on.
Man, you know acting, cuz.
Slap Grease, nigga.
You know, like, man, I pay for everything, dude. I run all this.
That's me.
Yeah, I ain't doing that. Yeah, you my rapper right here, man. You know what I mean? I just put everything together. I just put it all together.
Yeah. You gotta get a little in.
Hell no.
I love men. I know that. That's what the problem. I feel stupid like a motherfucker now. Now I feel so my goddamn shit.
Oh, man. I ain't gonna get that nigga on the couch over here, Ron.
No, that's all right. Don't get it. Don't get it. They gonna put you on YouTube, Cam.
Run, C.O. Go get him, baby.
No, wait for look. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh, C.O. Don't do that.
This nigga here, man. Oh, that fuck shit, man.
That nigga true.
I need you going to tell man, yeah.
I got you, man. All you gotta do is hit me, man.
Oh, you the man.
All you gotta do is hit me, man.
For real, you man.
Yeah, you heard it from your boys. Yeah.
Oh, man, come on, you.
Look, we was rolling for a good little minute. But you know, like they say, all good things gotta come to an end. Man, I thought it was over. He the only one who believed in me. And he was gone. I didn't know what I was gonna do. But I knew I had to make a move. And when you know God got you, sometimes all you gotta do is wait. And the move will come to you.
What's happening?
You know the saying. He may not come when you want him, but he always on time. Always.
I'm a villain man. You ain't with villain man putting his ass through. You ain't in tune to the streets. You understand it?
Pulled up on the villains chillin'. Pulled up on some villains building.
Zaytoven and Humble, they gave me a chance to put my foot in the door. Out of respect for Chief, they offered me a position in their organization. And Chop, he gave me a roof over my head. I left my hometown in a bucket and $30 in my pocket. That's all I had. When I got that phone call, I was hanging on by a thread, mentally, physically. And on top of that, I just got kicked out of my parents' house.
Zaytoven said that, you know, that we live and direct. Man, you see what it is. Hey, come on, man. It's 100 right here. We in the Zaytoven studio. Zaytoven, Villa Man. That's a winning combination.
Oh, man.
Lead that. Let's do a remix featuring Puff Daddy and Ricky Ross and Gucci Mane. Got my boy Hum G with me. Got my boy Al New. Big Dog Villa.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in the time.
Always in the building.
That phone call was right on time.
We got a very special guest in the studio of your boy New Jack. Shout out to my partner, Villa Man. You know what I'm saying? In the studio rocking with your boy, man. Tell the people.
I hit the road, didn't look back. Hell, I couldn't look back. My rear view was broke.
You gon' roll the phone? I'ma work a You already know I'ma play the game.
Man, no, bro. Shut up.
I want to get in the video when you do this.
Now he want to go back in the act. Get this out of here. Get your stinking. Roll the. With my boy being a fan. You hate.
idea of the show. On the pushing down 20 silver rolls, yeah. And pushing mine with flair. On the eastern line of mile, on the square of flair. Gucci.
Yes, sir.
Sound real good, my bro. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, bro. All right, sir. Okay.
Man, those were some surreal times. Things were moving fast. At one point, I couldn't keep up. The only person I could blame, me. In 2011, I was introduced to Xanax firsthand. Around this time, I was in Atlanta, still doing video work for artists. I was broke as hell. When I say I was broke, man, I was f***ed up. But on the bright side, I had a car. I ain't had no license.
Villa man, get everybody, let them know who all on set. Show him where he riding. But he coming out for Zaytoven. I want y'all to take a picture of the car. Right. That's how we live. So we live like this for real.
And I had my own place. A friend of mine, he came to me and asked me did I want to sell Xanax. He seen my situation. He was trying to help me come up. I had heard of it, but only through music. You know, I was like, man, who I'm gonna sell it to? I didn't think I knew anybody that did that shit, but that wasn't the case. It was actually easy. During this time, you know, Future had just dropped Dirty Sprite. Everybody was experimenting with pills. Everybody in the hood wanted them, you know, bars or whatever they called them. You know, one night I was chilling with a chick I had met on Facebook. We were just chilling, smoking. I asked her, did she know somebody that did Xanax? She said, what kind? I showed her. It was the Xanax bars. You know, the kind that broke down. She started Anyway, that's how I found out that people were going crazy for them. It wasn't long, you know, I started getting high on my own supply. You know, experimenting, that was my fault, you know. When I found out the women was going crazy for them, you know, it became like a party drug. So, you know, every time we have a gathering, I had a shit ton of them. I'd take some too, you know. One weekend, I had went on the road with Zaytoven and Gorilla Zoe. I decided to take some on the trip. Long story short, I took more than I should. You know, we were having a good time and shit. Gorilla Zoe had a recording session in the hotel. You know, we were just look at this picture right here. Now look how gone I look, man. I look like a zombie. Man, that shit was crazy. Now everything was alright until my boy Nuke said, let's get some alcohol. After that, my memory went black. I don't even remember leaving the hotel. I was told we went to 3 clubs and a Waffle House. I remember 0% of that. And I'm thinking to myself now, how the f was I able to walk in these places? I still ain't figured that out. But if it wasn't for the people that was around telling me what happened that night, I wouldn't be able to tell y'all this story right here. At the end of the night, we got back to the room. This when I started to remember a little. I remember getting off the elevator to the 11th floor. We was in room 1108. I also remember looking over the balcony and almost falling. And if it wasn't for somebody grabbing me, I would have fell. The next morning, I woke up in the bathroom floor in my own vomit, feeling like shit. When I came out the bathroom, everybody was telling me how worried they was and all that, and they was glad I was okay. A few minutes after I woke up, my friend who gave me the Xanax called me and told me his niece had a seizure and died in the shower from Xanax the night prior. So while I was up off the shit, she was dying off the shit. That was enough for me to leave that shit alone forever. I ain't touched no pills, I ain't touched none of that shit since. One minute you could be having a good time, popping, next minute you know, you dead. Man, when I was going through those times, everybody could have backed off and not dealt with me. But it was actually the opposite. It started going even harder.
Shout out to Villa Man, my the man behind the cam on a lot of shit. Y'all don't realize how intricate Villa Man is. Shout out to Alabama on the strength of that too.
And I finally started making some money in this thing. You know, I couldn't take my opportunities for granted, man. Think about it. These rappers, they could have used anybody to be their cameraman. They could have had anybody around. But they chose me. Young dude, small dude from Phoenix City, Alabama. You know, and I was in Atlanta, paving my way. Man, I couldn't let it slip from me. I cut off everything and everybody that was gonna get in my way. But while I was doing that, the rap game was changing fast. And somewhere in the midst of all that, I kinda lost love for the game. That's how drastic the change was. Good thing is, I started making the transition from music videos to shoot movies. Some of the guys I was doing work for started to blow up, even Bankroll Fresh. Man, Bankroll.
Yeah, I'm fresh. Doing what I love to do. Make music and express my feelings. That's all it is. Make money, studio, family.
That's it.
Hustle. Bill. We in the building, man. Villa Ratchet TV. Got mixtapes finna drop in the street. I say this every time y'all see me, cause them bitches is finna drop. All of them. I got like 5 on coming at one time.
I met Bankroll for the first time in 2008, when he was still young fresh. It was around the time that Zay sound had hit hard. I'm talking about it was going crazy. Gucci was on fire, OJ was on fire, Jugman was on fire. Pretty much everything Zay touched was on fire. And then you had Young Fresh. The first time I unofficially met Fresh, it was at Zay's mom's house. You know, back in the day. It was brief. As soon as I came in the basement, he was leaving. Gucci had him go to the liquor store. But the first time I officially met Fresh was at my buddy CO house. I keep it 1,000. Fresh wasn't very welcoming the first time we really met.
Man, no, bro. Shut up.
He looked down on me because I was filming with a MacBook at the time.
These niggas supposed to be on the set, man. These niggas sipping on 1800, man.
That's what she was saying.
What y'all doing, man?
1800, man, bottles of this shit, man. I'm motherfucking nigga Villa Man. If you ain't fucking with Villa Man, you ain't in tune to the streets. You understand it? Nigga straight drop the property going hard, though.
Oh, yeah.
I got it for him. Shout it going so hard. What's good? Got this camera watching this camera. It's all street, man. Zaytoven, USA, baby.
Yes, sir. I'm putting everything on everything.
Yeah. Zay got 3-4 cameras he don't even never be using.
Oh, that's why I'm glad they with it.
I'm happy.
You need to charge it for the other one, huh?
Yeah.
He just Fresh, you ain't gotta worry. He just cut us 15 racks before you got here, man. We locked in for a month and a half, for real.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
As talented as Fresh was, he wasn't in the position he should have been in. All of his peers, they made it. But somewhere along the way, I think Fresh lost his passion for the music for a second. One day we had a talk, a real talk. I'll never forget it. It was at Zay's house in the backyard. He was like, "Hey, Vil, what you think about this mixtape?" I said, "It's dope." And I dropped 5 more. The reason I said that is because, you know, Fresh was in the game for some years. And at the time, he only had one mixtape. It was called Street Motivation. And to me, he was better than everybody. He should have had more workout. That's how I feel.
Them bitches is finna drop, all of them. I got like 5 on coming at one time.
I seen Fresh go hard, extra hard. Hell, he even changed his name. Wasn't no more Young Fresh. It was Bankroll. And he'll correct you if you say Young Fresh. Real facts. On Instagram, he even told me one time, the day we had that conversation, it's the day he started taking it serious. It was only a matter of time before he was gonna run not only Atlanta in the music, but the world. He was built for it. And then the bullshit happened. The weird part about that night he was shot, he was going to do a show in my hometown. It makes me even more sad when I think about what could have been. He had it all. The talent, the sauce, the drive. He was supposed to be a star. I can only imagine if he was still here. I can only imagine. Man, rest in peace, bro.
Studio time just to be, cause that's the way I just get away from the hood and just come and, you know what I mean, have fun. I wasn't really never taking it serious. I always getting a little money in the street, just book me a couple hours in the studio and just come chill, and my partners will be up here and we can chill. Shoot dice and shit in the studio and sometimes make little beats and record, but I just started taking it serious, for real serious.
Now, a while before Bankroll died, I was already itching my way out of the rap game. It got to the point where I just didn't fit in. The things some of the rappers was doing, it was on some but they was calling it gangster. See, I don't condone shit like that. Now, one incident just made me say fuck it all together. I was hired to do a job in Miami. Me and agreed on a number. Next thing you know, I was in Miami. Now, this Miami, so you know we having fun, I'm filming, doing my job, you know. The initial agreement was half in Miami and the other half after I finished editing. The next day, I asked for the paper. He said, "I got you, man, I got you. You gotta start putting out that camera, man. You know, get some footage first." Now, mind you, I've been filming the whole time. At that point, I was getting discouraged, man. I was like, damn, man, this nigga gonna try to play me for the paper. And I don't ask nobody twice for that's begging. I'm not finna beg for my own money. Now, by the third day, I ain't pull out the camera not one time. Man, I was through. I hit my girl at the time, told her I was probably gonna be back early, so you might have to wire me some money. After I got off the phone with her, I went to the back. It was a dock, you know, right on the water. I sat right there, smoked the blunt. One of the entourage members, he came, he walked up, he sat on the dock too. He had 2 scratch-offs, and he was already scratching on one. He said, "I already know why you didn't pull out that camera today, boy. He ain't pay you either, huh?" Come to find out, he was waiting on some money from the too. So we chopped it up. You know, I told him I probably was gonna dip early, you know, and right after I said that, I never forget it. He said, "Oh, shit." I was like, what the hell wrong with this nigga? He showed me that scratch off. $7,000, just like that. No cap. I couldn't believe it. And now I'm telling y'all this story. Hell, I still can't believe it. But that actually happened. This man got $7,000 off a scratch off while we was talking about money. Man, look, we snuck off. We went to the lottery office, cashed out. I ain't know this guy from a can of paint. Hell, I met him the day before. This dude gave me the money that owed me. He looked at me and said, I don't know why God did what he just did, but just know you blessed. That blew my mind. When we got back to the house, we ain't tell nobody. And the next day, we flew back to Atlanta. I ain't asked for the money again, I just dipped. I took it as a sign from God. Just leave it alone. I got the money I was owed, and I ain't even take a loss. Even though days later, the rapper ended up hitting me up, and he gave me a portion of the money. I never got the rest, so I never released all the footage. But that was confirmation for me to walk away from the rap game. And now that that chapter was over with, I had to figure out what I was gonna do next. You know, I was sick of being a cameraman, so I figured, hey, let me try my hand in these movies. I did a couple movies with Zaytoven and Al Newt, like Birds of a Feather, Weed Man, and they turned out to be successful. But this was gonna be the first time doing a movie by myself. I ain't know what I was doing. And to some degree, I still don't, but that's another story. The name of the movie was called Homicide Watch. I wrote it quick, and we shot it even quicker. We filmed it in Bessemer, Alabama. That's right outside Birmingham. We had some long days, man. Long days, long nights, but we got it done. Now it was time to put it out. So we decided, let's do a premiere. Before the premiere, you know, I was nervous, man. Man, I just knew nobody wasn't gonna show up. You know, probably my family, you know, a few of my friends. But when I pulled up, the place was packed. Man, we ended up selling out the whole venue. I was on cloud 9 that night, boy, you just don't know. That was my first real piece of paper, you know, and we did it out the mud, man. Now, I'm not finna sit here and cap like, you know, Homicide Watch was just some great piece of film. It's not really that good. It was kind of trash, but it was our first film, man. You know, there was a lot of error in it, but the crowd loved it. We sold thousands of them things. People in Alabama, they still be talking about it to this day. Now, if you want to see it, you can find it on Amazon Prime. Hell, you might can find it on YouTube, I don't know. But, you know, if it weren't for Homicide Watch, it probably wouldn't be no Villain TV right now. Because you got to think about this. I was at the age of like do or die. Either this was gonna work or I had to get a 9 to 5. Shit ended up working, man. And we still working.
My baby good, honey, my baby good.
East Side, East Atlanta, the old Ely Meadow, the old E Hamp.
Oh man, don't mean
Goddamn, you know what I'm saying? The whole Glenwood.
Look, all them niggas claim that East Side
Goddamn.
shit, bro. If you never shot dice at Granny Spot, bro, you is not from East Atlanta, bro. If my partner them or I ain't never seen you at Granny Spot, free my nigga Cad. He the first nigga said this shit, and I was like, that is so for real, bro. If you ain't never been at Granny Spot and shot dice at Granny Spot, bro, you is not from East Atlanta, bro. Like for real, bro. If you, I mean, you shoot video, I mean, you going in front of the hoods, but you're not really going in them. Like that defeats the purpose. Gucci said it right. It's a whole lot of motherfuckers saying they from the East Side. Like for real. Like that I ain't never seen in my life. I ain't seen shit at Scammering. I ain't seen shit at the motherfucking the clubs. I'm talking about, and we done got to fight with everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody done got to beef with everybody on the East Side. I ain't seen y'all nigga, man. Where are y'all nigga from, bro? Where are y'all nigga from? Just let me know.